Hey everybody, it's John with the Simplest Biz. Messed up a little while ago and didn't have the right microphone picked, and nobody could hear me. So I'll keep an eye on the comments to make sure folks hear me on this one. And I wanted to go over today where are pallets, and I want to challenge everybody that sees this video over the next 7 days to keep your eyes open. Because it's the type of item the wooden pallet is, it's everywhere, but nobody really pays attention to it or sees it. So next time you go to the store or out on the highway or driving down the road, kind of look to your right and your left, and you're going to see this over and over and over. Not a day goes by when I'm driving down the road. Now, the corner of my eye, I see stacks and stacks of pallets over, by a building over here. Well, I'm driving down the highway or the road, or I'm driving down the highway and coming right by me is a flatbed truck with hundreds upon hundreds of pallets passing me by in this direction. And when I'm at the store, I see them. When I'm just driving from here to there, they're out there in huge numbers, but nobody really looks at it. So I want to challenge everybody who's watching this video or ends up watching this video for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes wide open. Kind of turn your head every once in a while you're going from place to place or when you're in the store. And you will start noticing this where you'd never noticed it before. Pallets, 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 pallets. But also crates and 55-gallon drums and corrugated boxes and wire spools. All this other stuff is out there. Nobody pays attention to it. And one thing also I want you to do, every truck that passes you, maybe in the same direction and just overtakes and passes you, or it's coming from another direction, think about what's inside that truck. It's inventory, full of inventory. These trucks passing you, hundreds upon hundreds of trucks you see on any given day driving down the road. Inventory, and every bit of that inventory is sitting on pallets inside these semi trucks. Even though you can't see them, it's in there. And that truck has come from somewhere and it's going somewhere. It's going to somebody and they're going to deliver the items inside there. They're going to take it out of that truck at that business. And the business is going to take that inventory off and it's going to ship it out or direct to the public or by hand truck or whatever, and they're going to generate stacks and stacks and stacks of pallets on a given day. I want you to keep your eyes open for that this week. Now, at the simplestbiz.com and the training that I provide, I will guide you to the exact types of businesses we want to deal with and how to set the deals up, right? But regardless, it's out there. Now, also realize when you see those 18-wheelers going down the road, they came from somewhere. The business it came from, they loaded their inventory on that truck and filled it up. And their stacks and stacks and stacks of pallets that we sell to them are going down, 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 getting lower, lower, and lower. Right? And they run out. And we have to take them from those suppliers where they're going up and bring them over to the buyers. And again, they're going to go down because their trucks are going out. So every truck you see is either it's left somewhere where that business is never going to see that pallet again, or those stacks and stacks of pallets that are loaded on that truck with inventory on it. And the business it's going to, a lot of times there's businesses out there that don't need the pallet once inventory's there, and their stacks and stacks are building up. So that's the cycle that we're getting into. So not only is it what you see that I'm telling you to look at, but also realize you can't see inside the truck. I realize that, but you got to know that those pallets are in there. Okay. Any warehouse you see, the same thing's going to be happening. There may be no sign of pallets outside, but there's warehouses and specific businesses I want to guide you to. And when you walk through those doors, you'll know which questions to ask and which problems to solve, how to set the deal up, how to get exclusivity for those pallets, how to move huge varieties of pallets as well. That's what I want to train you to do. But realize when you see these buildings, these little warehouses are scattered in any given city, and a lot of them are clustered together inside that warehouse. They have no way of moving that inventory around unless it's on a pallet. So there's stacks and stacks and stacks that you can't even see. And a lot of times you'll see them outside of buildings. The honey hole, a lot of times, is inside the building, right? And inside the specific types of businesses we want to work with. We want to find that supplier, and then we're going to take it to that buyer. So I hear it day after day talking to people that are either interested in getting in the Simplest Biz training. If you need to do that, go to simplestbiz.com and get more information, dig deep before you purchase, of course. But and then set up a phone call. I have some directions in the stuff below. The description below is going to have a link to get more information. You keep on looking at this if it interests you. And then there's also a link to book an appointment if you have questions, and we will answer questions for you. Okay, so those are two things I want to get out of the way. Thumbs up on the video as well, and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content. I plan on doing more live stuff. Regardless, the situation is there's 2.5 billion pallets in the United States, and I want to guide you to your little sliver. That's all you need is your sliver of the action to make this happen. And I want to show you where they're going as well. Who has what and what goes where. But for the time being, day after day after day, I get calls from people. They said, I never noticed it before. Everywhere I go now, I see pallets. I was taking my wife out to the restaurant, look across the street, and there's this business with tons and tons of pallets just sitting there. That's money sitting there, you know. I was driving down the road, an 18-wheeler just passed me with a truckload. They send me pictures on my phone. I've known it's been out there for years because I've been doing this for 23 years. I've trained my mind and my eyes to see it. I call it pallet eyes because there's so much of it. With my wife, we went down to Florida a couple weeks ago, and I can't tell you, it's probably 15, 20 times I yelled out, pallets, 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 because I see them everywhere. You know, my wife will look up from her phone. Oh, yep, there's more. There they are. There they are. Oh my God, look at how many of those are. Stacks and stacks and stacks of money sitting around and across these United States. And I want to teach you the right way of going about setting this up. Let me see if I got any questions while I'm on here. Yeah, Sage, I see. Yeah, you see them all day. Some people have since they've seen some of these videos, start to see it, or you're in the industry, maybe you're in the trucking industry, and you do see it. But let's monetize that. Let's make it a source of income, a reoccurring income for people. Okay, and that's what I train people to do. Tragic sanity. I just got laid off from work, and I'm thinking of starting this up while I collect unemployment and build the business. Yeah, it's a smart thing. There's not a ton of overhead that goes along with this. Even if you don't have a truck, I've talked about this in other videos. You can rent a truck, line up all your orders on one day of the week to begin with. What way you maximize that rental? Do a couple loads of 150, 300 pallets, make $1,500 and pay $130 for the rental and net $1,370 minus gas. Repeat that process again. But also in the meantime, between that one day of the week you're doing it, I want to teach you to go to the types of business, solve the problems that you need to solve. So when next week rolls around, instead of doing just those 2 orders of 150, you got 3, 4, or 5 set up, ready to go. But realize you're starting from zero when you start this. I want to guide you and get you off to a fast start. You need to know your stuff. You only got one chance to make a first impression. My job is to tell you where to go, what to say, how to say it, how to evaluate the deal, how to construct the deal, how to get exclusivity for those pallets and get locked in for them, and how to find the right buyers and the types of buyers that aren't just dealing with standard pallets, but are dealing with large varieties of stuff where we don't have to store it, we don't have to lift it, we don't have to repair it, and creating all the other revenue streams that come into play. That's what the training's about. But for now, for giggles, for the next 7 days, I want you to keep your eyes open. And then you can email me pictures if you like to thesimplestbiz@gmail.com. Thesimplestbiz@gmail.com. And, 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 because that's what's going to happen. Because there's so much of it. And some of you are going to see stuff and you go blow your mind where there's pallets and stacks of thousands of them that you never noticed before. And that's money sitting there. And I want to teach you how to monetize these assets that are laying all over the country. I'm not trying to get you, you don't have to deliver 1,000 pallets a week to one business or anything like that. There's tons of money in the business needs 100, 150 a week. Keep it simple where you don't need any employees, right? You don't need the warehouse. You don't need to store them. Your suppliers, your warehouse. But I'm real big about, if you don't have a truck or something like that to start with, either renting one, get a neighbor's, if you got a truck, but you need a trailer, borrow a trailer. That's the biggest expense, but rent in the beginning and let the business generate income for you to go out and buy yourself a $3,500 older flatbed truck or a $1,000, $800 trailer to start with, if you have something to pull it with. Other than that, the expenses, since we're getting 95% of the pallets for free, and sometimes people are paying us to take them away, and then we're selling them, that comes into play as well. The only other overhead is around $60. You gotta have straps. I'll go over this in the course. You gotta have an invoice book if you want to start off super simple. You need a pencil, you need some gas, and you need some strap cranks, right? And that'll keep you around $50-$60. But what you really also need, and there is an expense, is the training. I don't want people going out there and they see tons and tons of pallets and they go into somewhere and they don't even know the verbiage or the language or the lingo and start talking to somebody about their pallets, come across as a rookie, and now they burn that deal and they can't go back because you've embarrassed yourself because you didn't know what you're talking about, right? And not knowing how to solve the problems in the right way. But keep your eyes open for right now, right? Let me see if there's any other questions before I head out of this thing. What do you mean when you in the course you talk about bringing a sample? Well, I mean, it's kind of proprietary, but the sample is a sample pallet, and a lot of times instead of showing a potential buyer what they without physically bringing them a pallet, you can bring, you can take a picture of the pallet that you have, the pallets that you have, right? And that way they know what they're getting before they get it. Let's see if we got any other questions. How do other items work, like 55-gallon drums? I see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time for sale. Seems like a glut of them. There are tons of 55-gallon drums all over the planet. But there's businesses I sell pallets to that also need 55-gallon drums to put their product in, right? And the cool thing about it is I'm selling lots of 55-gallon drums to them, and they're placing that 55-gallon drum on a pallet, right? So now when they ship truckloads out, they have all my pallets going out with drums on top of them, right? And it's going out the door and they never see them again. Same with corrugated boxes. Selling corrugated boxes, lightly used ones. I'm not dealing with new corrugated boxes. I'm using lightly used, perfectly good, heavy-duty boxes of all sorts and sizes that I sell to businesses because they'd rather pay me, $4 a piece for them per box, or all the way up to $20 a box instead of paying $7.50 a box or $35, $40, $50 a box on Gaylord boxes. So they'd rather buy them from me. So again, I'm selling them boxes and pallets. So that business that I'm selling to not only is buying pallets from me, they're placing the boxes I sell to them as well on top of those pallets and shipping that out and never to see it again. They run out and they need both. So one account turns into two revenue streams, and those two revenue streams reoccur because they run out like on a weekly basis. Now I have some that are every 10 days. But the normal occurrence is a 7-day cycle of them running out of this stuff. Okay. Sod farms. Yeah, it's in the training. I'll specifically cover that in the training, what the situation is with sod farms. Okay. It's a little different. There's an angle to it. Just join. What is the full price? Full price. If you go to the simplestbiz.com, In fact, I'll put the buy price on there as well. There's a link I'll put underneath this video for you guys. But, don't just jump into this without doing your research first. I want good students. I want people that have done their due diligence. A lot of times I'll even like you to book a phone call to ask some questions. But if you really dug deep, we hear people, I've watched 50 of your videos and I did this, that, and the other. So they've done their due diligence and want to buy. I'll put the buy link under here if you've gone through that process. But don't have shiny object syndrome and get into this without knowing it's for you. Okay. I want people who are ready to work, want to build this up and ready to learn and ready to change the trajectory of their life. I don't want people fly by night, if that makes any sense. Don't people ask about how long have you been doing this or stuff like that? Well, if I'm going to prepare you, which I am, I'll actually prepare you to be somewhat of a consultant in this biz. So, but when you go approach a person or a business, you're going to know which questions to ask. In fact, I don't even expect you to memorize all the questions. I have a printout of questions to ask suppliers and questions to ask buyers. So you get it in your mind. So I don't expect you to memorize all the stuff you need to ask. But the fact that we're asking hard questions and good questions and have solutions for those, it doesn't matter. Then it's not really about how long you've been in the business, how much you know. How many problems can you solve? How many issues are you going to notice that the other guy noticed? Fortunately, in this particular business model, the folks that are out there are pretty weak, and they don't go the extra mile and don't know their stuff. It's more like, I got pallets, you need pallets. And that's the extent of their service. But there's a lot of other issues you're going to learn in this training that come into play that will really help these businesses in. And if you know how to do that, it locks you into that business forever, for decades, with recurrent orders. That's the difference. People, it is called the simplest biz, but the simple part is after you have the deal set up and know how to set it up and know how to set up because we got three legs to the stool. You got to win, the buyer's got to win, the supplier's got to win, and we got to keep that balance and keep all three of these folks happy in the middle of this, right? Because if you don't, the stool falls on itself and it doesn't work. Okay. So I want to teach you the methods for longevity, consistency, reliability, and keeping these customers on all sides of the equation happy. Because you got to have a supplier, you got to have a buyer, you got to be making money. Right. Okay. J. Adam Griffin, how long have you been doing this or stuff like that? I've been doing this since 1998. And so it's 23 years now. Discovered in 1998. Didn't do it exactly the right way back in 98. But I was getting my product for free to start with. And it took me a long time to figure this out, to do it the right way. A lot of stuff you see on the web, it's not the way I go about it. They go about going after standard 4840 four-way pallets. It's what they're called. And they're selling to pallet yards. Even if they're selling to business, it's a headache way of going about it. We want to deal with large varieties, mixed loads of pallets, 12 foot, 6 foot, 48, 48, 36 by 40, even all of them mixed together and some of the businesses without sorting them or storing them and going directly to point A to point B. And then layering on top corrugated boxes, 55-gallon drums, crates, dunnage, wire spools, industrial bags, Gaylord boxes. There's a bunch of other stuff as well that you'll learn in the training. But good question. Now I'm getting courses. Well, good for you. He's getting your game shops. You're getting in the right time for GameStop because you could have messed up there and timed that one out wrong. How are you able to find grade A pallets? So many companies want grade A 4840s. Well, guess what? There's tons of companies that don't need 4840s. And there's tons of companies that I want to teach you about that we can educate them where it doesn't come into play. And yeah, you do not want to get caught up in the 4840 game. It used to, when I first started, back in 98, I was 80% of my business was 4840. And guess what? It's 10% of my business now. There are some customers that have to have 4840s, and I'll deal with them if it matches up right. If it's a huge situation where there's 1,000 pallets a week type of situation, I'll teach you how to broker that. So you're not having to stockpile 4840 pallets, but you are in the game and you are making action. But there's tons and tons of businesses I want to guide you to that don't have to have 4840. They need variety of stuff, even custom built stuff. Well, we're not even building it and we're making a cut. Okay, so if that's what most people do, is the 4840 game out there that hadn't taken this training. And I'm not against doing 4840s, but there's a right way of going about that as well. I wish I could just blurt out 5 things right here, but it's not fair to the people who's purchased the training. Okay, I mean, I'm just being straight up with you. It's proprietary information, and I'm not trying to be cryptic, but there is absolutely information you need to know about the 4840 game, and a lot of it, and some of it can really help you. Okay. Oh yeah, I watch lots of your videos. I know your story pretty well. It really makes a lot of sense. I'm just more concerned about how new I am and how I'll come across to people being new. Well, my job is to train you up to where you have confidence in what you're saying and knowing your game and knowing how to help these businesses out. Right. And if you ask the right questions and have the right solutions and the right ways of going about helping them, you won't come off as a rookie. Maybe, okay, let's be reality of it. Maybe the first 2 places you go out to, you're nervous as hell and you just stumble all over yourself. Okay, fine. You blow it on 2 businesses, but there's hundreds of more to go. And you realize in short order, anytime you do something new, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable for a second until you realize you have a couple wins under your belt and that confidence builds and you realize you're having just a normal conversation with somebody. Sure, you'll have butterflies the first time you go out. No big deal. This is so massive that you just next and maybe circle back around to that guy a week later after you've gotten used to it, right? But yeah, you have to know how to communicate in some degree, or unless you're going to go the website route or something, you have an orders coming into you, which you can do as well. If you're an introvert, you can go that route. What is your course worth from a percentage of students? I guarantee what you say is true. Make it through the course successfully. I have all sorts of folks going through the course. I have people who bought the course and never opened it up. I have students that have made $1 million over their first year. I have students that just do it 1 day a week and supplement their income. I have students that are petrified to get out of the car and talk to anybody. I have students that believe hustling is seeing one business or 2 businesses a day when it's not. Now, do I have to coach them up? I do. Do I got to kick them in the butt a little bit for those? Absolutely. But then I have students that see this, know how to communicate, know what it takes to hustle, and they're flipping stuff on day 3 and have moved away from their job and never had to go back and never had to look back and have more time with their family. So when you deal with the public, if you're looking for guarantees in life, you think this is me just trying to blow it off, but I have no way of gauging what your communication skill is or what your skill, way of taking the information and using it. I don't know what your idea of hustle is. But I'll tell you this, you need to hustle in the beginning. You're starting from ground zero. But the payoff's really great because once you have the account, they're ordering from you over and over and over again. So it pays off for that hustle. I have clients from 1998 to this day, because I learned how to serve them the right way with thousands of orders. And I have students that have clients from back in 2017 when they first started to this day. But it's, when it comes down to it, if you don't have confidence in yourself, if you don't have communication of some sort or like to talk to people, don't do it. Or go the digital route and create those incoming calls where, or hire somebody to represent you and pay them a commission on what they gather. But you're going in business here. And one other thing I want to cover while I'm on here, there's some people that are in a tight spot, and my training, I don't try to charge crazy for it, but I am going to charge you what I make in a morning when I do 3.5 loads of pallets. It's really it's about 3.5 loads of pallets in the history of your business to get your ROI back. It's a morning's worth of work once you get set up, so I'm not asking the moon. A lot of people think I should charge 3 times, 4 times, 5 times what I charge for the training. And I have students that have, their ROI is $1 million, right? Or 1,000 times what they paid for it is what really the number. 1,000 is $1 million. So back to what I was saying, if you're in a tight spot, when you're going for business for yourself, put some money aside, not just for the training, but also for, to have a little bit of a buffer. I don't want people buying this training and then don't have even money to rent a truck because they spend it all on the training. You got to plan a little bit. Maybe you need a silent partner, or something, or somebody to invest in you a little bit, but plan for the future of your business as well. Don't be dead broke after you buy this training and expect the world, because you don't want to constrain yourself to that type of stress. I want good students. I want people to take this seriously that are going to do it, but treat it like a business. Don't treat it like a hobby. I mean, you can treat it as a side hustle as well if you want. I have students doing it 1 day a week, and they pull their $1,000 in and they take the rest of the week off. That's fine too. But I mean, the seriousness of when you're starting this business, take it seriously. Get those clients. Go where I'm telling you to go. Say what I'm telling you to say. Learn your stuff. Just don't rush through the course. I'm going to have you do things as you're going through the course to prepare you. You'll be pausing and taking action and making progress as you're going through it. And then we got the Facebook group for support, but no business is all rainbows and unicorns. You gotta hustle. You gotta be somewhat of a little bit of a problem solver in this. But if you ever have an issue, you got support within the group with, all the other students and myself, where you can go in there and go, hey, I'm having an issue with this particular part of the business. Can you give me some suggestions? Not only am I going to answer, you're going to get 7, 8, 10, 20 other students answering the question for you. So you get this well-rounded answer so you can get over that hump if you have one. Okay. Harriet, I'm truly excited about this, Biz. I'm saying I'm saving now to purchase program. I believe in it and love the videos on women in the business. Man, the women are kicking it, right? Sometimes I think they got an advantage because we're dealing with a lot of warehouse folks, and women just, they have a sense of urgency in their life a lot of times if they have children or this, that, and the other, and they know they got a moral responsibility to make things happen. And when you got to make things happen, you make things happen. So I'm very proud of the women in the group. Absolutely. What's the full link for the discount in the chat above? It cuts out, and I live about 30 minutes from Birmingham. What's the full link? Let me send you let me grab it real quick and I'll put it in the comments. 1 second. Bye. "30 minutes from Birmingham. I hope we get to meet. I'm sure we will." There's a link. I just put it in the comment section for folks that have done their research and this and the other. If you have questions, we have payment plans. We got, different ways of going about this for people who want to do the training. But listen, I want good students. I want serious people, and I don't want people who have shiny object syndrome with this. So do your due diligence. But as well, if you got analysis paralysis, get off your butt and do something finally. There's people who will analyze and analyze and analyze, and they lose out on opportunity cost. Meaning, if you'd got it a month ago, think how much further you've been along if you're going to do this. And you keep on analyzing. Hell, if I would have done that in 1998, I wouldn't be here where I am today. Sometimes you just got to do. You just got to get up and do. And don't spin your wheels doing, but actually learn what you need to learn to do it right so you can maximize your opportunities. Sally, yes, I agree. We definitely need to think of it as a plan of action, step by step in every aspect, financial, time to delegate and learn the course, etc. No rusting. Perfect. Tobias, you have UK students. We have had to waste a waste carrier license here, found the interview on Pallet Enterprise and grasped the principle. Yes, I have students in the UK. I have students in Finland. I have students in Germany. I have students in Kuala Lumpur, Australia, Canada, India. Don't have anybody in China. But we have students all over. It moves the world. So it's a funny thing is the same problem, same issues are everywhere as far as the pallet goes. It's just how the whole world's moved. Everything's set on a pallet at some point in time. And maybe this desk itself that I'm right here wasn't exactly on a pallet, but all the pieces of wood and the lumber before that were, right? And so in its life cycle, things have to be, maybe this rug wasn't on a pallet, but all the thread or the cotton or whatever it was made of at some point was. So it touches at some point everything. Can this be done in New York City? Absolutely, it can be done in New York City. Now, New York City, you're going to have, you're not going to have wide open spaces where pallets are. A lot of this stuff's going to be kept inside. And this goes for a lot of northern states. The aspect of the problems that happen when stuff has to be stored inside, whether it be a supplier or buyer, are exacerbated, meaning we can solve problems. There are pain points that come into play that we can solve because of the way it's set up in the boroughs of New York City. Now, you can go outside the city as well, and you'll find pockets of industry that are in need of this stuff as well. But New York City proper, since real estate is so intense and expensive, a lot of the stuff is inside, right? Not sprawling lots like we have down in Alabama inside the confines of New York City. But New York proper and outside, it starts expanding and looking more like it does down here. But the problems that they're having inside of New York City with the pallet situation and the disposal of pallets are a pain point. And that goes for snow belt as well. When you're in the snow belt, a lot of the stuff has to be kept inside, in Minneapolis and Wisconsin and stuff. And the fact that they have to keep this stuff inside causes issues that you will learn about in the training where we can really help these businesses out in the way they haven't been helped before. Okay. Is it better to call or show up in person? We can teach you to do both, but let's talk about the reality of the situation. People want to do business with people they can see, look eyeball to eyeball, and trust. Plus, over the phone, you're not able to see the issues that I'm going to teach you about, the problems and the situation, because you're not on site to see them. And we want to bring those issues up in our conversation. I want to guide you what to see, what the issues are, so you can solve those problems. It's hard to do it over the phone. There's probably 2% of the population that has like expert phone skills, and engaging phone skills. And I have students that do it over the phone, and they're excellent at doing it. So I'm not trying to steer you away from it, but I'm more of a belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, and solving the problems that I'm going to show you that you're able to see because you're there. Okay. Some people think they're being efficient by being over the phone and getting a lot because they don't have to travel as much, but you also letting the sand fall through your fingers because you weren't there to be able to solve the problem that's staring right in the face because you're trying to do it over the phone. If that makes any sense. So yeah, we cover the phone set as well. Websites, if you want to go that route, if you have incoming, that type of thing. We can teach you how to build a website. Now that's a separate training, but we have separate stuff inside there. If you wanted to learn how to do that and build your own pallet website, if you're shy or you're sort of trying to grow your business, you can grow it. That's a marketing type of thing. It's a whole other skill set. You can build out your whole business without doing it. But I'll let you know we have that available for folks that are interested in that. We'll build you one as well. But don't get the idea that, oh my God, I got to have a website to make this work. You don't. I built my whole business out in '98 before the web was even a consideration. I built it out further without having it go that route. But I know a lot about the web as well now. And absolutely, if you want to have consistent business coming in, that website can work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I don't want to go down that road, but in this particular thing, but the questions are coming up. It's nice how honest people to race that shows you're confident in the biz. Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Sally. I mean, it's easy for me to talk about. I've been doing it forever, God, it's almost half my life. So I appreciate you saying that. Would you think the business would work in a town with 30,000 people? Like, I can't quite see the name of this. And plus, it's pretty tough to hear. Here, I'll give you an idea. There's actually a video on here. On my YouTube channel, will the pallet business work where I live? And I deal with a lot of places that are population 12,000, 14,000, 22,000 and smaller. Majority of my places are smaller municipalities. Now, it's helpful if your city that you're talking about is like within a 60, 80 mile radius of a bigger city, because a lot of times that smaller city has more activity in it if it's because it's serving a business that larger city as well. So there's more industry going on. Now, if you're in the middle of Utah and there's nothing for hundreds of miles around you, and it's 20, 30,000, then there'll be pallets. It's just not going to be as active, but there's tons of businesses that come into play. Like there's a town called Clanton. Here's Birmingham, here's Montgomery, two larger cities. In between it's Clanton, which is, I guess, 20,000, something like that. Well, Clanton does a lot of business between Montgomery and Birmingham, and they're each 45, 50 miles away on each side of Clanton here in Alabama. And so there's a lot of activity there for pallets, and they're needing to ship a lot of stuff out to the city, and back and forth, in and out. So the raw materials are coming in, and a lot of times the finished products are going out to both Montgomery and Birmingham. So that's the type of situation I deal with. Majority of my business is from smaller municipalities. They have little pockets. Like Homewood, Alabama has dozens of pockets of industry inside the population set of 22,000. Okay. Feed store north of track has pallets, lots of pallets. Yeah. They're going to be 4840s at a feed store. We'll get into all of that in the training. You'll see some of this stuff, and I wanted to tell you how to construct that deal and how to maximize your profits on that particular situation and where it's going, what the type of business. Please don't get in the game of selling pallet yards and leaving money on the table. So much money's left on the table, people doing this wrong. And you're making beer money when you should be making real money. Anyway, I just got on here for you guys to keep your pallet eyes open, and for you guys, and girls, to go out there this week when you're driving around and keep your head on a little bit of a swivel. And, look on the side of buildings, maybe drive around the back of the building. We look at stuff going down the road. But when you're on the highway, you're able to look down, and you're going to start seeing this stuff in massive quantities. And I just want you to get a feel for it, because it's really something that nobody really pays attention to. And I want you to, even if you're not in the training yet, and to get a grasp of what's going on here, and to realize that all those trucks going down the road are full of these pallets, crates and drums and dunnage. And all these warehouses you see are full of pallets, crates and dunnage and boxes, and 55-gallon drums and industrial bags and triple layered boxes and solid wooden crates. And you know, it's just so big because everybody's, you know, the internet's gone crazy. Everything's being moved on this stuff. All right. I appreciate it, Sally, and all you guys who joined in. I'll do more of these, and I hope this has been helpful. But I'm going to end this stream, and I do apologize for the earlier stream not having the microphone, the right microphone on. Simplestbiz.com. And if you want to book an appointment, click the see more button under this video, or click on the title if you're on your phone, and it will open up and you'll see those links right there. Okay? Y'all have a good one.